Hey guys, this is your horny host, Sasha Fierce, and you are listening to an episode of We're All Fucked, a podcast all about sex, dating, non-dating, and relationships with the hopes of improving sexual confidence and skills. Times are crazy nowadays. We should all know how to get fucked the right way. Hey, 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 sexy bitches. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 5. Today I want to talk about the D. And no, I'm not talking about Detroit, Michigan, because I Googled it to see if anything else is called the D, and apparently for the longest time Detroit, Michigan was called that. But no, I'm talking about dick, baby. So with me today is Mo, who you all love and know, and a brand new guest host, my dear friend Ray.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to have you back and have you on. It's a pleasure. So yeah. All right. So Ray, you know me very well. Mo, at this point, you know me very well. But being that you're new, how we've talked about dick so much, right? We've just
Literally, it is the main topic of conversation whenever we get together.
and remember that one day that we were talking about I was talking about how I give head and you're like, that's how I give head. It's just
Exactly the same moves. I was
exactly the same moves. You were like, how did you know men like this? And I'm just like, I figured it out over time. But yeah, so that's that. We do the same thing. So that's why I'm so glad that both of you who are close to me just love dick as much as me. And so we can have different types of perspectives. So yeah, so anyway, the penis, which I know we all call it dick nowadays, but the penis has probably 4,000 different names. Everybody calls it their own thing. They're very creative. I'm going to post on my YouTube a lot of the names, hopefully most of the names that they have on the top 100, which is ridiculous. So I'm going to play around with some of these because they're funny. But the most common that I've seen, and I think most people, is dick, cock, penis, sausage, pecker, willy, wet willy, chode, which is when it's thick.
Ooh, yes.
When it's thick, right?
You like that?
Member, schlong, package, good one. And I like trouser snake because sometimes that comes up and I just think it's hysterical. What other names can you think?
Oh, wow.
There's
I like to call it DAC. DACK.
Oh yeah, that Zach, Zaddy, oh yeah, not Zach. Is that about have you always called it dick?
Dick.
Cock is another one. Oh yeah, I said cock.
Cocky.
Cock is
I call it the bussy buster.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, write that one down. The pussy pleaser.
I'm sure that's somewhere on. I'm really making notes on what you're saying. I'm sure that's somewhere online where people call it that. Yeah, be creative, I guess. But if somebody's fucking me and they're just take that trouser snake,
that's
you
too
take
long.
my member.
It's too long.
It has to be appealing to the dick. Give me that dick.
Off the tongue.
It has to be quick too. Give me that dick. True. Not give me that blah 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 blah, kind sir.
No.
Yeah, it's too many words. It's taking out the sexy.
Yep.
I also like to call dick Javier. I know that sounds really weird, but every new dildo that I get, I call it Javier.
Well, that's a thing too. That's not that weird.
Dildo?
I don't name. You don't name your toys. I've heard people name their toys, but I don't name my toys.
No.
Very interesting.
But I have of men naming their dicks. But that's about it.
So yeah, so that's just funny, but yeah, Javier. I love it. Maybe I'll start doing that. It's a little weird, but maybe I'll get into it. The older you get, the more kinks you get into. Oh my god. Yeah, so do you guys have any funny stories or any experience where somebody called it something weird or not really? I think most of us. Yeah.
Different dicks have different issues. I had one that was called pigtail.
Oh, you you give nicknames to your guys. You give nicknames to their penis.
Yeah, just
depending on what they do.
it literally spiraled. I've never seen a dick like that in my life.
It curved one way and it curved the other.
It was like a tail.
Wow.
Do you have a picture of that?
That's interesting.
I gotta check.
I would like to also.
I've seen curves that I'm like, how am I supposed to get this in my mouth?
No, and it was little too. And then he tried to put his dick in a Magnum condom. It was just.
I can't. I would go get tacos at that point. I'd be like, "You hungry? I have cramps." Let's move on. You're not gonna give me good dick. At least buy me tacos. So anyway, I'm gonna post this list of hysterical names. But I wanted to go through and post and talk about these funny ass names. I swear, in some type of old Dutch way, they call it pizzle. They have Bone Ranger, Action Jackson.
I heard that one.
In England, there's Plonker, and it would be interesting to look at Google all the different countries and how they say things. I like this Flesh Tower.
Oh no. Oh no.
That sounds gross as hell. That sounds like a serial killer collecting. You know when you have receipts and you put it on the front counter at a restaurant and it has that needle and you just put receipts?
Yes, I know exactly.
It sounds like a serial killer who would do that with skin and just make a tower of skin of flesh. I'm so gross. Whoopee stick. Whoopee. And this is kind of similar to what you said, with the pussy buster. Beaver basher. Oh, honey, that must have been from the 70s.
Yep, definitely.
Where they were afroing out their pussy hairs so much that, they call me the beaver basher. I can't even say it.
You were gonna say
I couldn't even say it. Anyway. Oh man, we just call it dick.
Yeah,
I just like calling it dick. Anyway, so I want to get a little scientific and technical. Everybody had sex ed. You had sex ed, right? What age? You didn't go to sex ed in school? They didn't have sex ed in school?
No,
Did you have sex ed?
Science.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yo, she said it's science.
Yeah, that's it. It was science.
You're not allowed to know about it.
It was science class. We didn't have
Did
that.
you did a proper... It was
No,
a part of gym.
But that also explains why everyone was pregnant every summer.
We had a health class connected to gym that maybe I think like middle school, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, I think we had to take that health class. And I just remember it wasn't that many classes, but we learned more about the females learned more. They split up the genders. So of course, they do the banana with the condom, right? I'm sure for the guys, and then they talk about tampons and pads and stuff for the girls. So they were talking more so about our periods than they were about this is your vagina. I went to a Catholic school as well, so that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that had a lot to do with it. And it was just, and most places, especially in the 90s and 2000s still, most parents didn't want to have that talk. No, it's a we just don't want you to do it, but guess what, we're gonna do it, so educate us. Teach me about my vagina, because back then we didn't have Google, so now I guess they have Google. They're not doing it anymore. It's just science.
That's what it was.
That's so funny. I expected all of us to take
all of us
sex
were in a
ed.
class,
That's
and they were this is how you put a
interesting.
condom on. This is tampons and things. We didn't.
But did you have that?
And this is not on Long Island. This is because I'm originally from Queens. We went public school. This is what they did.
Yeah, but
No, I had a regular sex ed class that was part of health class, but we weren't split up by gender. It was just
interesting.
That's cool that it's split up by gender.
Well, it was very scientific though. It wasn't really practical. It's these are the ways, not to catch an STD, abstinence, and it's that's not, and then they never taught us anything about gay sex. It was always just, female to male and sexual cisgender. So there were a lot of other things I had to learn on my own and within my own community. But I had sex ed class, but
interesting.
It was very scientific. It wasn't realistic at all.
Yeah, that's really interesting. We all had different experiences. Cool. Well, write to me if you have something interesting, guys, about that to our listeners, because that's, I was under the assumption, just like when I watch TV and film, and I'm like, oh, you can wear these outfits in high school? Yay. Not,
No.
And it's just and I see sex ed Sex Education is a TV show, or it's called Sex Education, right? Or it's called Sex Education.
Or even, there's that one TV show on Netflix called Big Mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
My fave.
It's amazing. Yeah. So it's I'm just I'm just assuming everybody.
No.
Anyway, I guess Queens is just.
And
I guess you already know. I don't know.
Don't listen.
Anyway, so I should have a white I have a white blazer I should have worn to pretend I'm some type of fucking lab person, because that would have been cute. But all right, here I go with the dick. I'm going to call it the penis, and then I'm going to call it the dick, because I can't seriously call it penis. It just sounds ridiculous to me. Anyway, so the penis is an organ, right? And it's for peeing and coming, right? Everybody knows that. But the parts of the dick, I think most people don't know what they're called. Do you ever, like, you probably know today, but like, do you ever, like, do you know like, there's the head and the shaft and the balls, but did you know that there's stuff that, like, you don't know the name to? Like,
Yeah, no,
the
definitely.
hole?
Yeah, there's
Do you know what the hole is called?
I used to know all this stuff. I used to teach
Yeah?
sex ed in high school.
Why did you just,
I know
what?
I should have led with that.
Wait, what?
It was like a creative. It was like a little group. It was like a student organization, and we would like go and
What
do.
did you say? I'm sorry.
He taught sex ed in high school.
Oh,
Yeah. Like we had like
you could have
little
left with that one.
creative, like things.
That is the most important thing about you at this point in
That's interesting.
But the thing is, I don't remember any of it. Like I used to know
science.
like,
Yeah.
terms for the penis and all that, but I can't remember any of that stuff anymore. I just know how to get it to.
That's hysterical. When I looked into this, I was like, this is so funny. Why aren't we talking about this more? So there's the root, the body, the shaft skin. So that's like inside. And then the skin, right? And then there's the foreskin, which can be removed, and that covers the penis glands. Now the glands is just the top of the penis, which is what we call head. So when you say give me head, it's like give me that top, give me that the mushroom part of the dick, which is called the glands. But that sounds like glands, like this is glands without the D. So it's just like I don't know, it's just ugh. So the urethra passes through the prostate gland, joined by the ejaculatory duct, and then through the penis. So that's why everybody knows when you hit that prostate, it's like boom, like you can literally come super fast. It's incredible, is it not?
Sometimes the dick is so big that it stops you from coming, so that's even better.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Oh Lord, ooh, that's interesting. So so that's like how I saw on SVU, and I don't know if this is a true thing because some of their stories are true. This woman was trying to get pregnant by very famous wealthy people so she can like get money from them. So she was actually enticing them to like whatever. She would like roofie them, and she would take like a whatever and then take his cum. Yeah, do it right up his ass. Because he's like unconscious, but when you do it through the prostate and like zap him or whatever the fuck she does, he would like immediately come, and she would catch that shit and go
shit.
like a psychopath. When I saw that episode at like 15 years old, I was like writing notes, like not like to steal people's sperm, but like how to make somebody come fast is like through the ass. And like I remember being like, I wish I knew that this whole time. Now I do a lot with the ass. We'll talk about anal sex one day. But so anyway, I digress.
Tickle that perineum a little bit.
What?
Isn't that what that's called? Like the perineum, like the little area between the asshole and the ball sack.
Okay,
Wait,
doctor.
what?
Doctor.
Yeah, like just tickle that a little bit.
Oh
The
yeah.
taint?
The taint.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's called but it's the
perineum.
perineum.
Right? I
That
think.
sounds like a flower.
It does.
Perineums.
You know.
Yeah, I like a couple of years ago learned that trick with that, and now it's one of my favorite things to do. Just do that like right there.
Right there, yeah.
So sensitive.
Yeah.
So this is just the funniest part of this. The hole's called the meatus. The hole of the penis is called the meatus. MEATUS.
I love that.
Where did you get this?
Wikipedia.
I don't know if that's valid. I have never heard of it.
It's called the meatus, but it's just the hole. The rest of the penis is meat, essentially, and flesh. Flesh tower. But this is the hole, and it's just called the meatus, which is like sexy but disgusting at the same time because it just sounds ridiculous.
Like sausage, like meat.
Yes. Sausage. That's what I think meat is.
Meatus should be a nickname for dick. Yeah, you want that meatus, bitch?
That's too long.
Take
I
that
ain't got time.
meatus. Just, like it has to roll off your tongue. Anyway, let's get into the sensitive skin that's like around the penis, which of course the vagina has it as well, and we'll talk about the pussy one day. But the skin is very thin. It's almost like eyelid skin, so it's very thin. It's very sensitive. Clits are considered underdeveloped penises because they're so sensitive. So the embryonic tissue. So most of the penis is developed from the same tissue, which is this, as the clitoris, right? So that's why there's a similarity in sensitivity. A lot of people out there, like when you hit that G spot, you can come. But most of the time when you stimulate the clit, you can come. Yeah. With the dick, it's like, you can do whatever, the way that we just talked about. But it's just very sensitive all around. And like I said, like with the circumcision, like I heard, and maybe this isn't a thing, I should have fact checked it, but like when you pull the skin back, it's with the fact that sensitive. It's just very sensitive, like because that foreskin kind of protects it in a way that it's like the skin is just like fresh.
Yes.
I feel like I'm into that now. The way I just said it kind of turned me on.
It does for me.
Anyway, we'll talk about that again. So anyway, and then so we're gonna talk about erections, and then we're gonna get into circumcised, which I feel like we spent half our time talking about. But yeah, any form of excitement, and I thought that this was interesting, and I actually knew this from an experience I'll speak about. But you can get an erection from something that's not sexual.
Yes,
You can just
I
get
heard
very
that.
excited, and your hormones or whatever, and you could just Ray. Have you ever gotten hard from
All
nothing?
the time. Yeah. Like
Not
all the time.
sexual, just you're just
Yeah.
hard.
Like sometimes on roller coasters. Or
Roller
if, like, if you're
coasters?
driving. Oh yeah, definitely. Like
That feeling where it's like you get horny all of a sudden, like yeah.
something about that drop that
Oh
the
my gosh,
Do you know what I
really?
read? The
sorry.
feeling that you get is physically all
Your
of the
organs
organs inside of your body are like
up
doing
and then going
something
down.
and going up, and like so that feeling you get as you're dropping is
Hmm.
like a compression, I'm sure,
Yep,
of something.
it
Oh, I
is.
should look into this, of
Your
something
organs,
hitting,
your organs are
and then
going
all of a
up
sudden
and
you're
then
like,
down.
whoo, that was
It
like a
feels so good.
thrill type of
Yeah.
good point. If I had a dick, I'd be woo, and then that thing would be like in the way. Ooh, did that happen to you where you're like, fuck the whole time you're going through this? I've never worn pants tight as this. Like, this is a pain that I can't even moving your dick around trying to get it out.
No. Oh no. I should have tucked. Why didn't I tuck? But
Take
yeah,
notes, listeners. Tuck it
Oh
back on the roller coaster.
my goodness.
definitely get hard like for no reason.
Yeah,
Sometimes like if I'm just excited, like we go out dancing or something, I'm like,
yeah.
oh, just happens. It's not really a sexual thing.
That's amazing.
Like Mr. Big, he went to the doctor and the guy that was like
Oh, that.
taking the what was he getting a sonogram on his balls and he was gay. And he was going around on his balls and he got hard.
Yeah, it happened.
Well, that's a sexual thing because you're touching the members.
Yeah, but
and
he
the,
went.
and the
He
testicles.
had issues. He didn't.
Yeah.
He was like, "I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but I
I'm
feel
so
like
sorry.
I
I'm
feel
so
like people
sorry."
when they go to the doctor and get their ass checked, like it's possible that people get horny from that experience too, or like a boner or whatever. I'm talking about something that has nothing to do with touching the body. Like, let me give you a quick story. I used to babysit this little boy, 2 or 3 years old he was.
Wait, it took a turn and it didn't start yet. Whoa.
Where's
Carry
my
on.
The way that I just said that,
no? I won't be a part of this.
I gotta get through this. I gotta get through this. But I'm laughing at the fact that I said 2 to 3 years old he was, because I sounded like an old British man. But now I'm realizing why that was so
I've been
appropriate.
watching a lot of Netflix lately.
Yes, I watched the whole thing, Bridgerton or whatever.
Maybe whistle down.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's a TV show on Netflix. So we went somewhere and somebody had a big train set for the holidays. One of those like lavish, like the whole dining room is like
Oh
full of this
yes,
whole
like
crazy thing
collector.
with the
Nice.
lights and the horns and the whistles and all this crap. And there's like cars and there's like all these things and things are turning and just singing lullabies and what's it called? So he was watching it and he was so elated and he goes, snaps his head, my wee wee hurts. And I'm like, and I was like,
Wait, I didn't know.
and so I didn't know what was going on because I was like 14 and my mom was like, sometimes, because of strong excitement and the body is the body, like that happens. And I was
2 to 3 though?
mortified. I was mortified, but then like my mom knew that it was a thing because it's like, oh, sometimes you just get excited. And when like you're 8 years old, you start playing with yourself, but you don't know
But
how
you
to
said
jerk
2 or
off.
3.
He was like 2 or 3 years old. He was
I
like a
didn't know.
toddler. Maybe he was a little older. No, we were babysitting him until he was like 5. Maybe he was like 4 or 5.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I was in the kindergarten like showing people my and boys were like I don't know, it's your body. You kind of like figure it out, but like for some reason this happened, and now I feel terrible talking about this because it sounds so terrible. I don't think I've ever really expressed this story to anybody else, but I just remember knowing, and because of this it dinged in my head like, oh my god, Andrew, when we babysat him, he was like, my wee hurts, and my mother like grabbed him because she was like, what's going on with you? Like she didn't know what that meant, and then it was that, and I was just like, oh my god. It's almost like when you see a dog like fuck another dog and you're like mortified
Yeah.
because it's a dog. Let's move on. So anyway, an erect penis glans, which is the head of the dick, feels like a raw mushroom, and when the penis
So uncomfortable. Like sitting here.
Maybe I'll just take this out.
No. It's all fun. It's all fun.
All right, it's all fun. You guys know me. So yeah, the head of the dick, which is again the glans, feels like a raw mushroom, and the flaccid penis, which is soft dick. I gotta say this; it's so hysterical. Let me tell you what some dignified person on the internet said about this soft dick. Soft dick happens, or flaccid penis happens when the shaft feels like a dense sponge, but encased with eyelid type skin.
That's very specific.
Very.
A dense sponge encased with. If I read a book that was like talking about sex and it had phrases like this,
Intense sponge.
I would like speak like that to people. I'd be like, "Oh, have you had dense sponge?" Like I can't even. This is all
can't
so
even.
fascinating to me. This is why I want to do this podcast so that people can hear the ridiculous shit that people say out there, and maybe they can say it too.
Okay.
Anyway, we talked a little bit about circumcised, uncircumcised. If nobody knows what we're talking about because you haven't lived in the world, circumcised is when you cut cut the skin, and then uncircumcised is when you leave it. I have been told, and it's a thing, I believe, that it's more sensitive when the skin is not removed because that skin protects it, and then once it peels away, and I always say that because it's a hoodie, it gets taken off, it's like it peels away like the banana skin.
Like an onion.
And
Okay, I
like
can
an onion,
definitely-
and under that is like a more sensitive skin, almost like fresh baby skin, how it's like hasn't been tainted by anything, you know? And it's just like so, and it's also like surprise. It's like opening a package, and it's like, oh, hello, friend. I'm about to destroy you with my throat. So circumcision is the removal of part or all of the foreskin, and it's a thing like culturally in different countries, or like low poverty or like impoverished countries where they just like they can't risk, like they can't just go get
So they just
surgeries
leave
like
it.
this. They might get infections, you know, places where it's like you know, like really really bad, or for medical reasons, or if somebody like is like born with something, or later on in life something happens, and you know some, you know, whatever, and you just have to cut it off. You do have to clean in it though, because like you don't want that like in like it's just it's like, you know, it's like anyway, barf.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's disgusting. So I heard about that, but it's
I
like
had
cheesy, right?
experiences.
It's almost like that crevices of your body that you can't get to. Like people don't wash their belly button, and if you like don't wash your belly button, it smells like that because it's like little tiny. Anyway, if you have a nanny, I'm getting like gross today. She can't take it. You have cream in your drink, so don't throw up.
Oh, I'm
everywhere.
gonna say have cream where? I'm sorry.
I call cum cream sometimes.
That's why I was like,
I should
what?
have a whole podcast on cum.
Honestly, I would listen to that episode. Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to have like just one thing to talk about, and just the whole, and people are gonna be like, how can you talk 30-40 minutes about just cum?
Easy.
Believe me, easy. When you go on the internet and look it all up, it's fascinating. So some countries that it's most common for circumcision to happen in the Muslim world: Israel, South Korea. The U.S. does it. Like I just think they just do it as a part of a thing. Parts of Southeast Asia and Africa. It is rare in Europe, which I can confirm, Latin America, which I can confirm, and parts of Southern Africa and Oceania, and most non-Muslim Asia and stuff like that. And prevalence is near universal in the Middle East and Central Asia, which is very interesting.
Yep.
So if you've been with somebody that is from any of these places, it makes so much total sense to you.
It makes a lot of sense. Like whenever I trade dick pics or sex pics with people from Europe, they're always uncircumcised. I'm like, interesting.
It is very interesting, and it's almost like, okay, you know what you're getting like ahead of time.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Okay.
I didn't
Like,
know
oh, okay, like, I'm not
he's
gonna be
not
surprised.
American, but I didn't know until he explained it to me, and he's not.
Yeah, he's
circumcised.
not. He's from Europe.
So I was like, oh, okay.
Do you have a preference, Ray?
I think I like them circumcised.
Mm.
Yeah, like it just feels cleaner to me. And I did have one once that was uncircumcised, and it was yeah, it's like harder to do what I need to do.
Mm.
Just
makes
gets in the way. I dated a guy in high school. He was like my high school sweetheart, I guess. And he was big and he was uncircumcised, which was interesting because he was American. He was like second or third generation American. And I don't know. They just decided not to. Maybe his dad is not. his dad's father and mother were from Russia and Germany, so maybe his dad was not because he was like first generation, and then he just wanted his son to look like him too. And it's possible it can just go through the generations, and everybody else will have a circumcised dick, and this guy is going to be like, nah, hold strong to all my generations after me. We got to preserve.
Well, yeah, some dudes like don't want their children to have it, especially obviously their sons, because they think it's more sensitive and sex feels better with it on.
Exactly.
So
Because it's so sensitive. Yeah.
Like my first boyfriend, he was from Honduras. He was not circumcised. Later on in life, he said he got circumcised.
That was in the TV show Shameless. He was like a teenager or something, and he had that done because his girlfriend didn't like it, and so he cut it too.
I think
It's
his
very
wife-
rare. Yeah,
His
it's
wife didn't like it, and he cut it.
he cut it for her.
I think
That's
so.
love. That's love.
Thank God he did, because his hygiene, bruh.
I hope they don't get divorced because then he'd be like, put it back.
Right, exactly.
I think it's better for him because he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
You can't get hard for like 5 weeks or something when you have a surgery like that.
Yeah.
I could never.
I just find it like difficult to deal with when it's uncircumcised. Like it's like very slippery. You know what I mean? Like when you're trying to do anything with it, it's like, oh my God, like I can't even, am I getting to the root of the, like, you know, like, am I doing anything that, like, can you feel this? Like, that's what it feels like to me. I don't know if you remember those toys, like they used to call them like little dildos, but they were like cylinder shaped and they had like a little hole in the middle and they were like usually filled with like water or like some sort of like clear gelatin. No one knows what I'm talking about.
Wait.
You know what I'm talking about? And it had like a tight little hole. It almost was kind of like the inside of like an anus, but like it was like
Was it
little,
like
The
a fleshlight?
it was kind of like a fleshlight, but it was like,
But it was gel or whatever.
yeah, it was like toy for children. It was like clear and sometimes it was,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It came in different colors and stuff.
exactly. And sometimes
I
it-
know. I don't know what the fucking
Right,
name
and
is.
stuff.
though.
you know what I'm talking about? And people
Yes.
dildo. It's a dildo. Like
I'm gonna look it
I
up
was
later.
so gross.
We're gonna figure that out later.
like
wait,
what
I was
was that and why? Like that's what it reminds me of, like an uncircumcised penis.
Yes,
It
that's
was
so
hard to
interesting.
grab it and then
That's
I don't know what
I
was
gotta
the
look
purpose
that
of
up.
that toy because I used to
one of those just like you fuck with it to keep a kid
like a
distracted.
fidget spinner.
Yeah, like it's just a distraction type of a thing.
I was like,
It's like
oh,
kinetic.
Yeah, you just-
what else were you supposed to do with it?
I don't
That's
know.
wild sauce. We're gonna figure it out later, and I'm gonna look it up. And I'm gonna.
Uncircumcised dick.
That's so weird.
Now I
That's
can't-
so funny.
Now I'm
Now
gonna
I
be
can't.
like, I
unthink
can't.
that.
I can't.
You're gonna
Oh,
laugh.
shit.
You're gonna laugh, and he's gonna be like, "You're laughing at my dick."
Kinda.
That's another thing. It's like I want to get into.
Damn.
It's like having fun while having sex. So it's like you start
Oh,
laughing and having joy, and the person, just so you know that they're not laughing at you. It's just like we're just laughing at something. Like oh, like in the middle of
shit.
sex, it's like sorry, I just thought of something funny, and you
Happens
get the
all
giggles.
the time.
Anyway,
All the time.
so I want to get into size. We're talking way too much about circumcised penises, but it's important because it's a preference, and that's okay. You can have that preference. It's okay. Do you guys know the average penis size? I think a lot of people probably don't.
I mean, I do, but that's only because I taught sex ed.
Yeah. I always hear like 5 to 7 inches, and like people who have like 10-inch cocks, like I don't want it. Like I don't need that. That's way too much, you know? So the average penis size is actually 5 inches in length and 5 inches in circumference.
Right.
Which makes sense. And porn stars, because I thought of this, because I'm always trying to relate like what we're talking about to like porn because it's so unrealistic. What do you think the average porn star penis size is?
I'm sure it's more than 5.
It's more than 5, but it's not that like impressive. It's 7 inches, which is 2 inches bigger than the average, which is huge, you know, I guess compared to the average. But there are some dicks on there that are massive.
They're so big. I would have thought it was a lot bigger.
I would have thought it was more of an average.
10-inch
You would
dick.
think that a lot of big dicks would be involved, but I
Yeah.
think that what they probably are gearing towards is, and that's why there's so many more POV,
Realistic.
like, you know, videos, because it's more realistic for the guy. If you see a dick that's almost average, you know, you're not there, so you can't really tell. But if it's 7 inches from that standpoint, compared to other porn stars that have massive dicks, it looks normal. That's why some of them are ugly, you know. That's why some of them, you know, just have a crooked dick or like half circumcised, which I've had that
I've never
before.
heard of a half.
It just looked like it was a terrible job. Like it looked like
They
the
botched his
surgeon
dick. Damn,
was
that's-
from like Colombia and got his degree from the bodega. Like I don't think that
from
was
the
real.
bodega.
But anyway, I'm going back to the circumcision. It's like really fascinating to me. So yeah, so 5 inches is the average, and 7 for porn stars. So it can be you. Go up high. So it actually that was from 2015. I wonder if it changed. So ooh, this is an interesting thing that I found out. So you know how like when a dick is flaccid or soft, it's like whatever size. And then when it gets hard, it's whatever size. And I've seen flaccid dicks that were like non-existent. And then they get like 7-8 inches or something, or maybe not, like probably like 5, right? But all of a sudden it's that. And then there are people who have flaccid soft dicks that are like a good size, where you're like, are you half hard, or is this just
Right.
the way your dick looks
Oh,
soft?
yes.
Where it's, but then when it grows, it actually doesn't grow that big because it's already
Exactly.
there. That blew my mind when I found it out, right?
I've seen them get bigger. I don't know.
But
Not-
on
but-
average, I'm sure you've seen, but like when somebody has like a really small flaccid dick and it gets bigger, then the other thing is that, oh yeah, when you have, so like basically it's not really more so from the former what I said. I think it's like more so that when guys have like a flaccid dick and it already looks big, it already looks like
oh, they're hot.
not that like slinky looking.
Yeah,
You know how it gets
it's-
slinky looking, and so it's already like stretched out.
Like guys with sweatpants.
Yeah.
And you can see the imprint.
Like
They're not hard.
like Ray, the guy B, like you know who I'm talking about, B. That one party where you were like, I think he's
Oh,
hard,
yeah.
and I was like, that's just his dick. That's just how, because it's already big, it's already massive. That when he's soft, it's like but it it's already like it's so funny.
You know, it's funny because when I was younger, I used to think that like when it was flaccid and it was still big, that it just meant it was going to like double in size, and it just meant that anyone that had a flaccid big penis was just huge.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I.
Right, but that's not the case, because like there are a lot of times when it'll be flaccid, and then when they do get hard, it only gets hard maybe like another 2 inches, and you're like, oh, like, and it's just like the same size and hard. But then I saw this one porn, and the guy was jerking off in his car, and when I tell you, like, I've never seen anything like it. Like his penis was so small, flaccid. Like it literally, like you would have thought it was like a micro penis. You're like, oh, like it's going to be really small.
I've
And it
seen that.
grew and grew and grew, and I was like, oh shit, like it.
Did it grow while it was in your mouth? Because sometimes I like to like start giving head and
it's
feeling
a
it get
porn.
hard.
He just
Oh! I lost myself in the whole. I thought you were talking about you. I lost my. See what I mean? Because it was realistic. It happened to me too. But because it was so realistic the way you explained it, my assumption halfway through your story was that it happened to
And
you.
it happened. By the time it was over, it literally looked like a 10-inch dick. Like
That's
it was,
gotta be a fetish.
get out.
yeah, because I was like, wow, like
It came from deep inside of him.
yeah, it turned me on. Exactly. It almost turned me on even more to know that like it just kept growing like that. I was like, oh my goodness, like
It's
why?
like Jack and the Beanstalk.
What?
But I've sucked dick and I've started like where it was soft on purpose because I like the feeling it grow
I do like that.
and how fast I can get it to grow.
True. I like that too.
I want it to almost be a slow, but sometimes it's just like all of a sudden I'm like, my mouth wasn't ready to open that big. Almost knocked my teeth out with that jumpy erection. Chill. I want to ease into it. You're going, come already. So anyway, I thought that was pretty fascinating. I had what I like back in high school. I remember like being with this guy who had a very like almost micro penis, and he was drunk, so he had whiskey dick. So it was a micro penis whiskey dick, and I just was like, I'm leaving. Like, this is so embarrassing for you. I don't know how this is. I was trying my best for maybe 4 minutes. I just moved on. I went like off and I just left. And,
Don't knock it till you try it. I hear
yeah,
that. Like that,
but the thing is that it's,
in, other ways.
I know that, yeah, exactly. I actually looked into micropenis, and you just have to be into other things. Like, yeah, absolutely. But, later on, a friend of mine dated him and was like, and I told that story. I was like, you're dating XYZ? And she's like, yeah. I was like, I was like, so how's that going? You know? And she was like, it's fine. He has a beautiful dick. And I was like, how is it big? And she was like, of course. I was like, are you fucking with me? And I told her that story, and she was like, oh, that's how he gets when he's drunk. I was like, oh. It blew my mind because I was in high school and I didn't know about micro penis. I just was like, he has a small penis. But the fact that he has that thing that I now just learned about, I'm thinking about giving him a call. I feel terrible because I was like, I don't have time for this. I don't know. I didn't even care that I like, but he was so like, I didn't even think he realized that was the thing. I think he probably was like, oh, I was so drunk. But he was probably also like, oh, I was so drunk. She probably got so mad that like my dick didn't get hard. Now she thinks I have a micro penis. I wonder if he talks about that. I wonder if he thinks of me. I'm just kidding. He probably doesn't even fucking remember me. He was so drunk. Who knows if he remembers meeting me? That was so funny. Anyway, I didn't have sex with him, actually. I didn't do anything with him, but we just like made out, and then I saw it, and I was like, this is not going to happen. But anyway, so I'm going to end with, and we're doing great on time. I'm going to end with just the tip. Fun facts about the penis. Please stop me if you guys want to say anything about these, because it's really cool.
I just want to say I love this segment. Love this title. I love everything about it. Just the tip. Like, oh my God.
That's a good.
When somebody says that to me, I get weirdly excited when they're like, ooh, just the tip. Like, no. or if I do just the tip and they're just, just like that, just the tip. I love that.
Tease it. Love it.
Anyway, woof. Edging is what I love. I could talk about dick all day. I'm going to have an episode of just head, and I'm hoping you'll be there so that we can talk about how we give head the same way. My mind was blown that day we realized that. So anyway, going back to the disgusting thing I said about the 2 or 3 year old, babies can be born with erections, guys.
Born with?
Born with erections because of the way the body is. Like something happens with the hormones or the nerves or something when like an experience is happening where your body's probably like, and like something happens. I gotta really look into that because that's a little fascinating. But they can be born with erections. It happens commonly during the REM sleep a few times each hour. So, morning wood or whatever, what is it called when you come in the middle of the night? What is that called again? You have a dream. Wet dream. A wet dream.
Yes.
It's almost like these babies are having wet dreams, I guess. So anyway, because of this...
That's the line, isn't it? It's almost like babies are having wet dreams.
In my brain, it's almost like this is so scientific to me that it's like in my brain, like, can you imagine being a doctor talking about this to like a room full of people, like a lecture about babies and children getting erections? But the thing is that it's not that they're horny or that anything sexual is happening, which is so fascinating. It's just a part of your body that does something. Just like the feeling that you have to pee when you do the roller coaster, or the feeling that you get horny when you do the roller coaster, your body just reacts, and you can't control that, and it's really cool. So because of that whole, the REM cycle thing, because your body, naturally like reacts to certain things that are out of your control, men can have up to 5 erections per night. On average, they have about 3 erections per night. If they're dreaming about sex or not, most likely. It's just what happens during the REM cycle. So that's why morning wood is so common, because once you get out of that, that's what happens. There are also erections when people die. Everyone knows you poop when you die. Yeah. All of your bodily, everything just shuts down, and you poop. You might throw up, you might pee, all that stuff when you die. But there can be death erections. Yep, and it typically occurs after a hanging. Again, that pressure... and when I get choked, I know there's something happens when you get choked that woo.
No,
I think that that's a thing. Anyway, this is really terrible to talk about. But when after a hanging it happens, scientists think that it's from the pressure of the noose on the cerebellum, which can affect that somehow. But there have been reports of death. There have been reports of death erections in gunshot wounds and poisonings. So those are really the 3 that they've noticed where, so it's almost like that quick like jolt to you, like a poison, or that makes sense. So I guess cancer or something is not going to, give you an erection when you die from it, So double sized. Oh, and this goes to the example you gave, right? Half of the penis is shown outside of the body while the rest of the penis is inside of the body. So that guy probably had 70% of it in his body. Something like that. That's why I was like, it has to be deep within him for it to just keep.
That's crazy.
Just come from nothing and just grow. And again, in my head, I'm thinking you were there. So I'm like, wow, I wish you had a video of that. But it's a porn. So there's a video of that. And I'm going to find it, goddammit. And I'm going to share it with the world. I'm going to show my dad even. I'm just going to show a stranger on the street. I'm going to look at this shit. Can you imagine? I wonder how that feels. It probably feels insane. Oh, man. I just wish we had like a simulation to understand what it's like to have a dick or a pussy, you know. But anyway, so shoe size myth. All right, we're debunking this. It's not the shoe size.
No.
Your index finger.
Wait, what?
And, bitch, it's correlated with age, height, and your index finger. It has nothing to do with foot size.
I've never heard index finger.
It's just... It might be double the size of your index finger. Guys,
I can't look at these people the same ever again. This is the average
penis size is 5 inches. Your index finger, I mean, I don't have a dick, so I can't do this. I wonder if your index finger needs to be, there's some type of calculation, I'm sure. But it really has to do with age and height. I don't think it has that much to do with height, to be honest with you.
No.
I don't know how it's age either. I guess, I think it's a lot of genetics. And it's, you know... Not all black guys have big dicks, guys. That is something that they told white women so that they would be terrified of the slaves, like or black workers or whatever is what I watched it on a documentary. That's like one of the reasons why like men like didn't want like white women like hooking up with black men. So they have dicks that will rip open your body, you know, and like now white girls want the dick. They love it, you know, it makes daddy mad and it gets her off and But yeah, terrible thing. But I that could be one reason. It could be because maybe a good majority of I don't know. Do you know anything about this, Ray? But I just know that it's not a thing. It has nothing to do with race or ethnicity.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, I know nothing.
I've seen small black dicks.
But I can't.
I've seen small black dicks. I've seen big black dicks. One of the biggest dicks I've ever had was black, but the high school sweetheart, he was white. So it's like, you know, it has nothing to do with anything. But it's just that whole myth or stereotype or whatever that is just making it more known. So the guys with big dicks, I guess, are the ones doing porn. Mandingo type style. Anyway, so curves and angles and shit like that. Erections can point in any direction, any angle, but the most common is 60 to 85 degrees, which is in 30% of men. But in 60% of men, it's 30 to 85 degrees.
Curve?
Yeah, like the way it points. Again, I had a dick one time that curved so much. I was like, how am I supposed to do that with my mouth? It was so confusing. I think I had to be sideways and I had to go down like this. It was very confusing. I like when they curve, but not in a way where it makes it difficult for me to perform on it, which unfortunately, it's almost like the micro penis. It's like, it's kind of like, how do I work this? And what are other options? Because trying to put that in a pussy or an ass, the way that it's like, you just have to make sure that the position is a way where it can go the way that when you deep throat, you know, and stuff like that. So you'd have to work with it.
Yeah, I would assume that the guy would know how to deal with it since they're the one with
right?
it.
You would think, right?
You know, like the different positions that's best for that.
I'm sure.
I've never had one that was like super curved like that.
I did once.
Jeez.
And I've had curve to the left or the right, and I don't have a problem with it. I like when it curves up. I like when it curves towards the guy. My guy has that, and I love it. So I like it just slides down easier. I don't know, but I really don't care what the dick looks like as long as you're giving it to me good and motion of it's not the size of the boat, it's the motion of the ocean.
Yes.
I feel like that was something that I talked about with you and you didn't hear.
Yeah, because I was like, what?
She never heard of that. She's from an island.
I heard. Shut up.
She's from some island in the middle of nowhere.
No.
And they think it's long. They think it's a big island. I'm just kidding.
You're so silly.
I don't know shit about Long Island, but like I said some phrase. I think it was that phrase.
I think it was that.
And she was like, no, you say such and such. And I was like, no, I don't call it that.
I forgot how it went.
It's the size of the boat, it's the motion of the ocean, but you had some other title to it that was interesting. But anyway, that really is it. I mean, I've had guys fuck the shit out of me with like a 4-inch dick and just, you know, curved or not, like it's fine. But yeah, if it's like so much that you can't work with it. Have you ever had anything like that where you couldn't work with it? Or like just any other reason why you couldn't work with it?
No.
You've made it work? That was the only
Because-
one time that I couldn't make it work. I just remember
If I had a curved situation, probably wouldn't know what to do with that. So yeah, but like
it
no,
was
I've
so
always
bad.
had like an easier,
Yeah.
straightforward,
Yeah.
straightforward.
I had one guy that put, I guess he had a sweating problem, gross, and put like baby powder there, and maybe didn't. I don't think he expected to like get that, and I was like, oh, pluh, pluh. I was like, pluh. I was like,
Yeah,
what the
both.
fuck is that? I've never eaten baby powder, and as soon as I went on, I literally went, pluh, pluh, and you can't get it off your mouth. You have to like, you can't even drink water. You have to drink like.
A mashed potato kind of consistency.
No, it wasn't like that.
wasn't that
I didn't
much.
see it. It wasn't like it was clumped up or anything. Like he put baby powder on his member.
And you had like powder
on
mouth.
his situation, and I guess it rubbed on his pants, so I couldn't see that it was powdery.
Oh, I see.
But the residue was like there. So when I did it, it was almost like if you have oil or lube or the condom, right? It's almost like that. When you take off the condom and you go to
Yes.
suck dick, I've gotten used to it over time.
Yeah.
But like when you take off the condom and you go to suck dick, it's that feeling where it's like, but it wasn't like I could keep going and
No, it was
the
just like,
taste would
no.
go away. It was like I couldn't like slide it because it was like powdery. It was so terrible. So those were the two times where I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
No, I never.
Anyway, so you can't break your penis, by the way. You can fracture it. There's no bone to break, but you can
fracture is a
fracture
break.
it. Yeah, but I guess like fracture doesn't need to have a bone.
But fracture
But
means
a break does. I know it means like a tear or something like that in the bone. Like I think fracture, if you look up the Latin root, it probably means like a tear or a cut, but not like broken like this.
I think you're right.
Basically, because it doesn't have that bone, even though it's called a boner.
You're waiting.
I used to always say, but there's no bone. Where's the bone? It's almost like, why do you call it a park when like you don't park there? It's not a parking lot. There's all the types of things like that where it doesn't make any sense. Where it's like, why would you call it this when like that is the opposite of what it's called? There's a whole list of those types of things.
Yes.
So you can obviously with vigorous sex, and this has happened to me where someone has been just like, my bracelets are making a lot of noise. Where someone just like popped, like just fucked me so hard that like it comes out and it goes back into like my ass or like the side of it and just like completely is like, oh. And like a couple of times they've like fallen over and just had to like get their shit together because it was so hard.
Oh my god.
That I was like, I hope you didn't break your dick, you know, but usually they could shake it off and they're
Exactly what
okay.
you're talking about when you like slip a little bit and you're like, and I always apologize. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
I get off immediately and I'm like, are you okay?
Right. They're like,
Do you want to
Pause
stop? Do you want to
everything.
stop? Sometimes people are like, I don't give a shit. Like it's
they
still
don't care.
because you still have a bone. You're still hard. It's not like that happens and you get soft unless the pain is so bad. So
That
you're
happens to
still
Mr. Big.
hard.
He's like, stop.
Yeah. So it's like you just kind of have to have the blood rush back to where it's supposed to be, and then you continue. But I've only had that happen a couple times where I was like, see, I'm over here like, see, you gotta let me sometimes control it because it's just one of those things. Like I read something that was like when women are on top, it's like when women go down, or like even men, but like I don't know, like the way it's positioned, like when women are on top doing the regular cowboy barf, it's like so boring. But like sometimes it's good to be intimate, and you go to kiss the person, and when you go to kiss them, the dick comes out of your ass, and then it's so like or your pussy or whatever, wherever it is, and then so like you lean forward, and if the dick's not big enough to like stay in you, it'll come out. So if you're like kissing somebody on their neck or kissing them on their face, and like they're fucking the shit out of you, or you're on top and you're fucking the shit out of them, or whatever you're doing, and then it just slips out, and then in that moment it can also do the same thing, but like in that position it just like hits the bone that like women have in their pussy. It's like it's the bone that's there is like it's so intense, and like you guys have like the scrotum, so like it's like all these different things that like can just hit like right there, like ugh. So yeah, but yeah.
oopsie.
You could do it during vigorous sex. What?
He's like, oopsies, sorry. So sorry. Want to keep going?
So yeah, vigorous sex will do that, and also what's it called? Falling out of bed when you have your morning wood.
What?
Try not to do that. Ejaculation.
Wait, falling out of bed? I don't
Falling out of bed when you have the morning wood. That's another way you can fracture your dick.
There's probably thousands of ways to fracture.
like when
I'm
you're
sure
drunk,
there's so
you
many.
fall out of bed?
Any type of accident, not drunk fall out of bed having sex with somebody, but if you like fall out of bed like waking up or something like that.
Oh, okay. I was like,
or maybe just regular falling out of bed while having sex. But anyway, those are the two reasons why people do it. So ejaculation, men can't control this because the brain has no control. It's actually from the spinal ejaculation generator, which is why certain things will cause you to come. I told you guys a story right before we started. We're on Law and Order SVU. This woman had this like whatever to hit the prostate or to hit that area. She would drug men and she would roofie them, and then she would try to steal their semen to get pregnant, but she would do that thing in their ass so that they can just come immediately. It's in that's why babies are born with erections, and you get excited, you have an erection. You can ejaculate at the same time if something is connected to that. So men actually can't control it. And then that's also why it's like it just happens. It has no control. It's just like you hit something or something feels good, or you think in your brain about, a celebrity or what have you, and all of a sudden it just happens. But it's from the spinal ejaculation generator, which sounds like something I need to buy. Doesn't that sound like Amazon might have that?
A sex toy or something.
It sounds like a sex.
Like what?
Insane.
I let it slip the first time because I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna let it slide. Whatever.
The way I said it?
Yeah, because I thought maybe you were just making that up.
I could have. But this is actually a thing that I almost want to be a doctor now on all of this, so I can lecture people about this and try to keep a straight face. Like, can you imagine going to all these places and just being like, so the spinal ejaculation generator, and just like show a picture of it, and people are going to be like, the fuck are they showing me? Anyway, let's move on. So this region in the spinal cords coordinates the necessary functions. So that's how that all works. In the back. Go to your chiropractors, guys. Make sure the back controls your whole body, I swear. So there are growers and showers, which is what I was talking about, where the penis starts small. And so we actually talked about that earlier, but that was the last tip from Just the Tip. So again, guys, I'm going to post the ridiculous names of penises on my YouTube in the description, so you'll see that there. I'll probably also throw in some links for you guys so you can do your own research, but definitely Wikipedia the penis. There's like so much literature on the penis on that, and just it's a lot of fun. There's Google out there, guys. You should really fucking figure this out, but if you don't want to, I could talk about it.
You gotta do the work. That's what they say in the entertainment industry. You gotta do the work.
You gotta figure it out.
It's the same thing with penises. You gotta do the work.
You gotta do the work.
1 to 10, how much do you love dick?
1 million.
Oh, yeah. I'm up there. 10 out of 10.
I'm so obsessed with it.
Great.
And I love pussy too. I love both, probably equally as good, but dick is just a whole nother demon for me, and just it has so many things that could do for me. But there are women out there who are straight who don't like the penis. They just deal with it because they know they have to, and I think that's disgusting, and I think they need to go to therapy for that, because either they're not straight, or because, again, sometimes people don't know until they try it. Don't knock it till you try it. Wait, don't knock it till you rock it?
No, don't knock it till you try it.
See, you know that one.
Yeah, I know that one.
Oh, I know that one. But yeah, so that's a thing. But yeah, so Ray, thank you so much for joining us with this.
Thanks for having me, Sasha.
Yeah.
I was telling my sister earlier, I was like, yeah, I'm going to talk sausages with Sasha.
Yes. That is really difficult to say. Say that 5 times fast. Exactly. While you're boning me, boy, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, take that sausage, Sasha. Take that sausage, Sasha. Anyway, that's adorable. So yes, I can't wait to bring you back on, Ray. Definitely, we're going to talk about more interesting stuff with you that you enjoy talking about. It is always so wonderful having you here, Mo. People love you, and you're going to be back. Of course, you're probably like one of the main guest hosts, so that's awesome. Thank you guys again. It's been a pleasure having you guys on the show, and thank you so much for your contribution to Dick today. Thanks you to the education of Dick. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye, Ray. Bye. I'll see you later, Mo.
Bye.
Bye. Please always remember that we are all very lucky to live in a time and place where we get to have sex with who and how we want, and that not everybody is afforded that right. Next week's topic is booty sex, so make sure that you bring enough lube, because we will be getting all deep in there. It has been a pleasure getting fucked with all of you. Stay sexual. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. For more pleasure and direct contact, follow me on Instagram at We're All Fucked Podcast. Or you can email me at podcastbysasha@gmail.com. A huge thanks to our sexy listeners and our guest host for today.